Good afternoon, everyone. Might be evening by the time this gets uploaded, but could be the afternoon still. I guess it just depends on how the Wi-Fi works and how things load or don't load. But and honestly, I'm not even sure if I'm gonna upload this. I probably will, but I'm not 100% sure because I'm gonna talk about some touchy subjects here, some sensitive areas. Because with everything that's going on, the times we're living in, I just don't think you can hold back anymore. I mean, yeah, you try to be diplomatic. Yeah, you don't want to, hurt people's feelings and, come off as a jerk or, I don't know, egotistical, arrogant, whatever people assume about someone's character, or whatever conclusions they come up with. What I'm finding out with a lot of that is a lot of the conclusions that people come up with about people's character or who they think someone is, they're just simply ignorant. The comments, that's really what it boils down to. The comments, the videos that people make about others, whether they're assassinating their character or just basically being mean, trying to cause division, being derisive, or just trying to maybe they're trying to make a name for themselves. Maybe they just gotta say what they need to say because maybe they don't have a platform that they want to have, or maybe they just can't get their voice heard the way they want to get it heard. I don't really know. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, I mean, I'm not psychoanalyzing people, really. I'm just kind of spitballing here. I really don't know. But I've seen a lot of that, and I've heard a lot of it, and people have contacted me about it, and I'm just thinking to myself, and I tell these people, that contact, I said, well, the person that said this is an ignorant fool. I'm not going to hold back. They're a fool. They have no idea what they're talking about. They think they do, but they're not in your home. They're not in your ministry per se. They're not out in the street with you. They're not part of your family, whether it's your immediate family or your church family, or they're not really necessarily a friend. You don't hang out with them. You don't talk to them directly, whether it's face-to-face or on the phone. There's really no major communication, but yet people seem to know everything about someone, and it's really quite disturbing. But that being said, I think for certain people in the limelight, where their name is well known, and they make their name known, and they want to be known, and they put themselves out there, and things come to light, and there's a lot of evidence to support the claims. I don't think that can be denied, and you got to call evil out for what evil is. And in my last video, I called the man the dumpster, okay? The man that sits behind the desk. I did. And I'm not going to take that back. The man is a piece of trash. He is human excrement, okay? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to the Katie Johnson interview that I shared, I don't know, a while back. And I put at the top of it, viewer discretion strongly advised, all in capital letters. I also shared it to some people on WhatsApp. I shared it to my Substack, and because I wanted the information out, and I texted it to quite a few people as well, because I really wanted people to understand the evil that we're dealing with, that it's got to be taken head on. And I was having a conversation with someone earlier, and that's how I look at it. That's how I view it. And that's what I've done in the past, and that's what I suggest people do. You can't turn the other cheek to evil. You can't turn the other cheek to people that want to destroy you. The devil wants to destroy you. The demons, the witches, the warlocks that want to destroy you, your family, the people you care about. You can't turn the other cheek to that. You got to take that evil head on. You got to attack it head on. And I don't care who it is. I don't care what their position is. I don't care what their title is. I don't care who they think they are. Evil is evil. I just was reminded of something, a Don Henley song. Can't remember the name of it right now, but part of the song is, part of the lyric goes, evil is still evil in anybody's name. If dirt were dollars. Yeah, that was it from the End of the Innocent CD. You know, I listen to a lot of different music. I remember a lot of lyrics from music because it's poignant. It affects me. It makes me remember things, and I can relate it to everyday life and connect it to things. Yeah, that's the name of the song. If dirt were dollars. Evil is still evil in anyone's name, right? Well, if you listen to the Katie Johnson interview that I shared, and I'm not going to do it again, but you can go back into the post and you can scroll back or whatever, you know. It's probably a week ago or whatever I shared it. A lot of people said they couldn't get through it, and I told people they won't be able to. I warned them, you know, and that's not a knock on anybody. It's that disgusting. It's that vile. It's that sickening. Some people told me I could get through 4 minutes of it. Somebody told me they could get through half of it. I did listen to the whole thing because I felt I owed it to the woman. Not that I know her or anything. I just felt that I owed it to her. As being a former police officer in law enforcement and security and dealing with a lot of victims of crimes, I felt I owed it to her to listen to the whole thing, and I wanted to hear everything she had to say. And I'm telling you, the man is human excrement that sits behind the desk. He is evil. Because if it was just one woman, just one victim, and there was no other evidence, there was no other people coming out and, you know, reporting and, you know, telling their story, and, you know, it just seemed like somebody who was squeaky clean was being attacked or whatever, I'd have my doubts. But when you have victim after victim after victim after victim coming out and, you know, talking about their horrific experiences with this scumbag of a human being and what he made these women do, whether it was at an island, a location, a mansion, on the Lolita Express, I think I could probably say that, whatever it is, a hotel room, wherever it is and whatever it is. And the victim's testimony line up to where there's an MO, a modus operandi here, okay? Where it appears that the accused is guilty of sin because they do it repeatedly to several young women, even teenagers, even young girls. And now everything is coming out. See, it takes a long time. A long time. The Lord is very patient with us. He's very merciful. But when it comes out and when the exposure happens, it's big. It has been and it continues to be big. And it might take 20, 30, 40 years. It might take a long time for the truth to come out. But when it does, it's huge. And so, of course, the guilty, you know, they're going to deflect. They're going to deny. They're going to lie. They're going to try to play these mind games, these psyops where, you know, they, you know, accuse someone else, or they try to to put the blame on someone else, or they try to turn the agenda, the narrative in another direction to say, well, yeah, I might be bad, but what did this guy do? Or what did this girl do? Or what about this? And what about that? And they won't even admit they were bad. I mean, they'll claim their innocence all the way through, like they've never sinned, like they have no reason to ask for forgiveness, no reason to repent. Well, I just do better, whatever. All right. I mean, like, they have no reason to admit anything, any kind of fault, and they're evil. Evil is still evil in anyone's name. I think I have a title of this video now. Not saying, I know Don Henley may not be a believer. I'm sure he's not. And I know a lot of people said some really bad things about Don Henley, and they may or may not be true. But thank you, Don, because I have a title now. I didn't have one before. A lot of times I don't. But it is. Evil is still evil in anyone's name. Where people, they claim God for this, or they claim God, meaning Jesus Christ, for that, or from other religions they claim whatever God they believe in from other religion, and they use their God to excuse their behavior. I hope people don't use Jesus Christ to excuse their behavior, but I'm sure many pastors have. It's between me and my family, and God forgives me, and this and that. Well, okay, fine, then step down. Okay, step down for your ministry, step down from the pulpit, and get right, and take the time, whatever you need to do to get right. Don't keep preaching to people, and don't keep telling people this and that and everything else, because you're nothing but a hypocrite then. Step down if that's the case. Well, what's happening is the Lord is basically making people step down, because it's so humiliating and so embarrassing for a lot of these pastors or ministries or whatever, when the truth comes out about the pedophilia and the sexual assault and the impropriety, and the unprofessionalism, and just, I don't know what, just the sin. It's embarrassing, and it's destroying people's lives, and as it should if they're guilty, but it destroys the lives of the innocent victims, and has been for a very, very long time. So I don't care what the person's name, title is. What evil is evil, and it needs to be called out for what it is. And if sexual assault has occurred on young girls, on young women, I don't care who the person is, they're evil, and they need to be held account. And it cracks me up when people say, oh, mass arrest, and they're going to arrest this, and they're going to arrest that, and they're going to put this person under the microscope, and they're guilty of this, and man, put the cuffs on yourself first, you hypocrite, you liar, you coward. Put the cuffs on yourself first, you gutless weasel worm. You should be arrested first. Lead by example. You should be arrested first. You are scum. You are human excrement. You are human trash. A dumpster. Put the cuffs on yourself first, and then worry about everybody else. Pull the plank out of your own eye, before you worry about the splinter in everybody else's eye, right? Okay? Now, enough is enough of this garbage, right? But no, it's not enough, because people still support it. I like what W77 said in his video, pedo protectors. I thought that was good. Yeah. So if you still support the dumpster, or your family, or whoever, and you still are part of MAGA, or you still support that, you're a pedo protector. Congratulations, that's what you are. Because, I don't know about this, and I don't know about... Well, then you're ignorant, and you need to do some research, and you need to find out who the person is that you really support. What is this movement that you support? And why isn't it Jesus Christ? And you can't compare the two. You can't say, well, MAGA is Jesus and Jesus is MAGA. No, it's not. MAGA is a cult, and Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior, and He is the one true God. And you cannot equate the two. They do not go hand in hand in any way, shape, or form. And all these fake pastors, fake MAGA pastors, fake false prophets, fake teachers, whatever they are liars, they are cowards, they are hypocrites, and they are also human scum. Call it out for what it is. You know, the conversations I've had with people lately and the text messages I've received and emails or whatever, it motivates me, it emboldens me, it fires me up to make a video like this, or put out a message like this, a drive and talk or whatever. Because don't you get tired of the evil? See, we may not ever have justice on this earth the way we want to have it. We might have to wait to the afterlife for that. Okay? But sometimes there is some justice. Sometimes there is. Every once in a while, there's some justice. And celebrate that. Celebrate that God is a just God. That He is, yes, He is loving, but He's also holy, He's righteous, and He's just. Celebrate the justice. Celebrate the small wins, the small victories, because you're not going to see much justice in the days to come, in the times to come. Now, I'm going to get into some other things here too, because we're in the month of August now. And I wasn't exactly sure what to think about that at first. But I've received some emails, I've done a little research myself, and I'm remembering back to some things. And, like I said, you may not always get a lot of justice. You may not always see a lot of justice. But enjoy the things while you can still enjoy them. Because thinking of Dabu77 and mentioning him and some other channels and whatnot, some things I've looked at, some videos and some things that people have sent me. And before I go too far, I figured out what happened with my phone. My son actually fixed it. Thank you. I guess I messed something up by trying to restrict some certain videos and restrict certain things that I didn't want people to see. I kind of try to put a filter on some things and restrict things as far as language and things of that nature. And I guess in doing so, I actually kind of wound up shooting myself in the foot, where I basically made it so I couldn't comment and I couldn't post and I couldn't do anything. So it was me. It wasn't YouTube this time. And I didn't think it was, because I hadn't had any strikes and I hadn't done anything to, I guess you could say, make myself a target like I did on the other channel. And I had a whole lot more subscribers on the previous channel. And I'm kind of keeping a low profile on this one as much because I don't have as many subscribers. People don't know me as well. Some people don't know who I am still. They're kind of surprised, they come over and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that you were Fear No Man." And I was just like, "Yeah. Oh, okay," and some people are like, "Oh, forget you," and other people are like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll subscribe to your channel," like to each their own, so some people still don't know, and that's fine. I mean, that's perfectly fine with me. I don't exactly want to have a target on me. I don't exactly want to put a bullseye on my chest, but at the same time, I'm not going to back down from evil either, and I don't think you should either. I mean, because we're in that time now where we're in August, okay? So getting to August, getting out of the evil category for a few minutes and, seeking justice, which we're supposed to do. Love mercy, seek justice, walk humbly with your God, Micah 6:8. But also, being that we're in August, it made me think of a lot of things. I got an email the other day, somebody was looking at 8/8, August 8th. Well, I was like, yeah. I said, I'm familiar with 8/8, 88 miles per hour, Back to the Future, for instance. 1988 Donnie Darko, where some people, decoders or whatever, not that I'm into all this, but I've heard a lot of things. I've read a lot of things over the years. I've watched a lot of videos, and people compare, the dumpster to Donnie Darko, Jake Gyllenhaal's character in the movie Donnie Darko and so forth. And a lot of, I don't know what you want to say, decoding comparisons there. And 1988, 88. 88 is the number of infinity. You turn it upside down or sideways, it gives you the symbol for infinity. I'm aware of all these different things, And what they were pointing out was they were really watching this Friday 88. 8-8. I'm like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. And I didn't really think much more of it. But then I remembered the video that Martin Armstrong did on USA Watchdog with Greg Hunter, and then Paul from Off Grid Desert Farming played the video again in his last Rumble video or whatever. And I don't know Paul. I don't agree with everything Paul says and believes, especially regarding the man of perdition and so forth. But for the information, I listen every once in a while, and I don't agree that people, are always looking for vindication and validation. I'm not going to lie, it is nice to be validated. I don't necessarily look at it as vindication because that sounds vindictive, sounds vengeful. But it is nice to be validated. But I don't think you have to announce it to the world every time you are, nor should you on your videos, your Rumble channel, or whatever else. I'm not trying to call people out for that. It's just my personal opinion. Other people may agree or disagree. I don't think you have to keep reminding people that you're right, and you've been right, and you continue to be right, and comparing yourself to other channels, and what those channels do, and this channel, and that channel. It's a turnoff for me. I mean, it's just like, well, I really don't want to listen to this, if that's what you're going to talk about. That's just me personally. But yeah, is it nice to be validated? Sure. But I think that should kind of be between you and the Lord and maybe your family, or close friends or whatever that you can share things with. It's like, yeah, it's like the Lord validated me on this. I talked about it. I mentioned it way before the fact, not after the fact, whether it was years or months or whatever. And he validated me, and I'm appreciative of that, because it makes me feel like I have worth, I have meaning, I have value, and that I'm actually hearing clearly, and I'm making the right choices and decisions for myself, my family, or whoever. So it is good to be validated, don't get me wrong. But anyway, getting back to the Martin Armstrong thing, I found it very intriguing that he says he has this Socrates computer, that I guess he's had over last 20 years. And it made me think of the 1984 movie War Games, with Matthew Broderick, shall we play a game? It made me think of that today when I heard it again. I heard the interview twice now. But and this time I caught on to more than I did last time, which is usually the case when you hear something more than once or what have you. You might have to hear something 2-3 times to catch everything. And when I listened to what he had to say, he literally mentioned the date of August 18th, saying that his Socrates computer, the analysis that was put out, and he says he's always trying to beat the computer. It's just like, I don't really understand what that means exactly. I guess with his own analysis or his own findings. And if people don't know who Martin Armstrong is, he's a world-renowned financial analyst who's been around for many years. I mean, he's consulted with presidents and world leaders in the past and so forth. I mean, a lot of people probably know the name if they don't know who he exactly is. So I'm intrigued by this because of the man's resume, because of who he is and whatnot. And I'm listening, and he mentioned that the Socrates computer talked about August 18th. That could be the beginning of a nuclear war somewhere in the world. I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued, I'm interested, because that makes sense to me. And so that's what he mentioned as the exact date that it could begin. Didn't say it will, said it could. But he said the Socrates computer, the analysis that it has put out over the last 20 years, he said it's never been wrong. I'm like, wait a minute. So you're telling me that you have, through this computer, this Socrates computer program, whatever you have, you're telling me whatever input, whatever has been, inputted, regarding world events or whatever, it's never been wrong in 20 years? That is quite the track record. That's better than the people that call themselves prophets, okay? I mean, so let's be real here, okay? It's never been wrong in 20 years. Well, there's a first time for everything, and computers are fallible just like anything else, but I'm intrigued. And he mentioned the date of August 18th. I'm like, oh, what day is August 18th? Well, it's a Monday. I'm like, okay. So I don't know what more significance there might be to August 18th. I haven't looked it up. Okay? I haven't researched it any further. I may or I may not. I don't know. And then my friend Will sends me something, and he put out an excellent video earlier today, Set the Captives Free YouTube channel. I shared it. It's a really, really good video. Kind of inspired what I said a little bit about people thinking they know what they're talking about when they have no clue. They're completely ignorant. And Will hits on that, and he does a very good job hitting on that with his video. But anyway, and then he texted me something where he said, George Washington actually became, according to the History Channel, a master mason on August 8th, 1775 or whatever. Oh, well, that's intriguing because not August 8th, excuse me, August 4th. And I was like, well, that's intriguing because that was Obama's birthday. We just started kind of laughing about that. It's like, man, the world is a strange place, man. It's crazy. The connections, the dates, this date in history kind of thing. I mean, it's crazy. It's really very interesting. So anyway, August 18th, that's coming up pretty quick, right? Well, and then today, Dabu77, some other people reported on talking about federalizing D.C. because of events that have happened there. And it's just like, well, could that have been a setup so they can federalize D.C. and finally start what I refer to as, Marshall Matt Dillon law? Gunsmoke reference. A lot of people that listen to me are my age or older, so I know you get it. You understand that. I mean, but could that be? Because then Canadian Prepper puts out a video talking about 72 hours, a 72-hour warning for Belarus, and how that country could be going under Marshall Matt Dillon law. And we've got nuke sniffers out there. And I'm like, all right. And there's a 72-hour warning going on. I'm like, okay. So that brings us into this weekend. Okay. Well, that brings us into the 8/8 time frame. All right. I'm listening. I'm paying attention. And of course, we know what happened. Like I said in the last video, my last video rant about the submarines, the nuclear armed submarines and everything. And I'm like, okay, this is starting to add up. This is starting to make sense. Just thinking about it. And then it dawned on me a little earlier that it was in August. I've mentioned this previously in videos, but now that we're in August, I will mention it again. August of 1990 is when Desert Shield started, Operation Desert Shield. And I mentioned that I know that because when I got there in November, the Marines were very angry because they hadn't gotten to fight or kill anything yet, because that's what Marines do. Okay? So they were very angry, very upset, very resentful because of the previous crappy corpsmen that they had, and I'm number 3, and I'm coming in November, and I'm coming in the coolest months, and they sweated profusely, we'll just say it like that, and all the trench warfare training and everything since August. August of 1990 was when Desert Shield started, Operation Desert Shield. Operation Desert Storm wasn't until February. Of 91. So anyway, that was Desert Storm. So I'm familiar with that. And I'm like, because I was there toward the end of Operation Desert Shield into Desert Storm. And so I'm like, all right, so it is not unheard of for military operations to begin in August. Then I remember Pastor Ben Faircloth from, I don't know how long ago it was, a month or so ago, I don't remember exactly. No, it wasn't even that long ago, maybe 2-3 weeks ago. He mentioned how the Father told him to watch for August. Pay attention to August. He didn't give a lot of detail about August, just pay attention to August. Well, today's August 6th. We're in August now. And look at the reports. And what's up with this shooting at Fort Stewart? And Fort Stewart, Georgia. What's up with that? And I'm thinking way back to, 2009, I believe, the Fort Hood shooting with the Islamic extremist Muslim doctor, whatever. Nadal Hassan, I think his name was. Man, I can't believe I remember this. He was a major in the Army. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. So we have that going on. already, as well as many other shootings and stabbings or whatever throughout the nation, everything else. It's just been constant, continuous, right? I'm like, okay, all right, so we have that shooting today as well. So, and Pastor Ben said to watch for August, pay attention to what's going on in August. Say, okay. And by the way, continue to pray for him, please. He's not feeling real well. I don't know this for a fact, but I think that might have been why the last Sunday's sermon was not uploaded to the channel. I don't know for a fact, but I believe that might be why, because he was kind of hard to understand during the service and whatnot. His voice is very weak. So even if you crank up the microphone or what have you, you kind of still sound like you're underwater. It's hard to understand someone, and if they can't project their voice. So please continue to pray for him, and I think that's why that the video wasn't uploaded. And he was talking about, if people missed it, idols in the nation. Very interesting, where he mentioned the recent deaths, of the Hulk Hogan, Ozzy Osbourne, and so forth, other, big names. And he said, you have big names go down like that, back to back to back to back to back. I mean, that's pretty huge. I mean, that's a sign right there. That's a warning. Here's your sign kind of thing. That's a signal. And it's not so much warning anymore. It's more preparation. It's not like I'm not warning you, I'm preparing you kind of thing. Warning time is pretty much done. It's here. It's to be prepared now for the things that are happening and the things that are coming. So anyway, getting back to the August thing, I'm thinking, okay, well, it's not unheard of for military operations to begin in August. And then when I hear about Martin Armstrong's Socrates computer saying that nuclear war somewhere in the world could begin on August 18th, I'm like, I'm paying attention. And then it's late August that we will have the 25th remembrance of Hurricane Katrina, August 29th, I believe. So there is a lot of things coming up, or things that could be coming up this month, and we're only at August 6th. So keep those things in mind as we continue into this month, and watch how they continue to deflect and distract and treat us like we're idiots, like we're stupid, like we all have convenient and selective amnesia, and just try to get away with sin after sin after sin after sin. And it's time to call it out, folks. If you're a pastor, you listen to me, which I doubt, but if anybody has a ministry or whatever else, it's time to call this out for what it is. It's time to be bold. It's time to be brave. I don't care who the person is. You can respect the office if you choose. It doesn't mean you have to respect the man, because there's nothing respectable about the man. If you are a pedophile rapist, there is nothing respectable about you. You are scum. You are human excrement. You are a dumpster. I don't care. I'm going to say it like it is. Because I think of my own daughter, and I don't know what I would do to the person that hurt him. My son and I were both talking about that. I honestly don't know. I would like to think that I might let law enforcement handle it, but I can't honestly say, because our system is so corrupt and so evil and so disgusting now. I don't even know who you can trust anymore. And I know vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, but that's my little girl. I don't know. I'm just being honest. So when I hear about pedophiles and rapists and traffickers and all of these scum that hurt children, that hurt young people, that hurt, girls, it's disgusting. You got to listen to the Katie Johnson interview. It is vile. It is putrid what this dumpster did to this young woman at the time, who was 13 years old. Okay? It is what it is. Believe it, don't believe it, listen to the woman. Listen to what the dumpster did to her. Listen to what these people do to these children. Listen to how they steal their innocence of these young women and young men. Some of them are children. Some of them are in their teens. And I don't know how anybody can excuse that, saying, well, technically, it's only statutory rape at this age, or technically, they're still 16, 17 years, they know what they're... Bull crap. Okay? Give me a break. That is horse crap, and you know it. That is garbage. All right? People know better. They should know better. They are predators. They are evil. And they do this to our children, our young people. And I don't know how people can just sit back and say, oh, I don't know about this. That disturbs me if I watch it. Okay, then don't. But at the same time, educate yourself so you know what's going on with the evil in this world. Don't turn a blind eye to it and pretend like you don't know what's going on when you really do. But because it's your favorite actor, entertainer, musician, politician, scumbag piece of human excrement, you would make excuses for them? Or, it's okay? Or, no, it's not. No, it's not. Not in any way, shape, or form. So, like I said, if you have a daughter, or you have a young woman, a granddaughter, or someone, a wife, someone that you care about, someone that you couldn't imagine some piece of crap putting their hands on and violating, and maybe it has happened to you or family members or whatever, and my heart goes out to you. I can't imagine. It's horrible. It's disgusting. It's vile. It's putrid. It amazes me the Lord puts up with it. But maybe he's not much longer. Maybe he's not. There are rumors out there. There are rumors. There are Simpsons predictions for whatever that's worth. Sometimes they're right. Sometimes they're wrong. Maybe the Lord's not going to put up with this much longer. Maybe the Father is going to do something about it. Maybe. I don't know. But, like I said, I hope I'm never in that position. I pray I'm never in that position. Or that no one that I know about or care about is ever in that. I don't know. I don't know what I'd do. I'm just being honest. I think if you're a real man out there, a real husband, a real dad, you'd probably say the same thing. I honestly don't know. I would like to think, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, and I wouldn't do anything. But I don't know. Because God expects us to be men too. And it's not toxic masculinity. That's bullcrap as well. All right? It's being a man. It's having testosterone. Okay? It's protecting and defending your wife, your children, your family, your grandchildren, your whoever, your friends even. It's called being a man. Something that people have forgotten about for the last, I don't know how many years. I think, to quote the Joker from The Dark Knight, I think men's balls fell off, probably around 2020, if not earlier. Sorry to be crude, but at the same time, you tell me, where are the men out there? Where are the men? Where are the men that'll stand up for Jesus, stand up for their beliefs, stand up for their families, stand up for what's right, stand up for their friends? Where are the men? Where are they? I know a few that I consider brothers, a band of brothers that I call real men, but not many, not many. There's a few that I associate with. They associate with me, and we can talk. And one I can at least meet with every so often. Others I can talk to on the phone, communicate with, or whatever. Actually a few I can meet with every so often. Not many, but there aren't many. There aren't many. So it's time for men to be men and step up while you still can. So anyway, like I said, I wasn't sure if I was going to upload this or not. But now that I got a title, and I'm not scared, people can agree, they can disagree, they can take me down, they can do whatever. I am going to go to my Maker, which I've come very, very close to doing recently, as well as in previous times. I'm going to go to my Maker, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, unashamed, not a hypocrite, not a coward. And I hope to hear, well done, thou good and faithful servant. And I hope you all want to hear the same thing and do hear the same thing. Because evil is still evil in anyone's name.